Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Questioning a better way, one gracefully disruptive conversation at a time.
Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila. I'm excited today because I have a fellow podcaster in the house. We've actually had the fortunate opportunity to meet one time in person. Both times it was like a party zone, of course, but I am welcoming Paula from Talk Shit with P. She is all the energy. She's living in her truth. She's promoting authentic living with podcasting. She's a mental health advocate. And this human works. Today's theme of this whole conversation is going to be about rekindling the burn to learn, because she doesn't sit still. And every time I see her social media, I'm inspired to pick something up. We talked about social media. She did it, like everything. This human does not sit still. So she's learning. So without further ado, Paula, welcome to Turmeric and Tequila.
Thank you so much for having me. Oh my God, this is like a dream come true, because I know when I first met you, it was virtually. I think you did a presentation with Podfest, and I followed you, and I've been a big fan of you. And you followed back. You've been like cheering me on, and you didn't even really know me. And then we met at Podfest again twice. But your mom, oh my God, amazing! You came with your mom. I got to meet your mom, and then we bumped at the pool. It was just like, it's always good vibes, the energy. So when you finally asked me that was one of my favorite emails to ever, messages to ever receive. I was like, oh my God, yes. Yes. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, I think like good energy knows good energy. And so, I mean, the social media, you can really kind of like get a feel, but the second we met in person, you were like holding a beer that was bigger than your body, like in it, like in lime green, something like but yes, just always fun. And like, but like fun, but also work. And I'm here for like the work play balance. Like I see you do both. So I was like, immediately, I'm like, I already know we're going to be friends. This is going to be good.
Me, it was your name. I'm not a big fan of turmeric, but that's a whole other thing. But tequila, growing up, literally, me and my brother, anytime we miss each other, my young brother was my best friend. We like take a video of taking a tequila shot. And when I graduated undergrad, like I literally started this thing in a club back in Malaysia when I was in undergrad, where every Sunday we turned it into Tequila Sunday. We'll just go and just drink tequila shots. Yes. And people be like, do you want us to buy you champagne or whatever? I'm like, no, even when I graduated, people wanted to pop me champagne. I'm like, bring me tequila, bring me tequila, bring me.
Yes. Yes. We actually do Tequila Sunday too.
Yeah, I used to compete, and on Sunday tequila, like then they started picking it up, and it became a big thing, Tequila Sundays. And literally, they'll make people compete in 5 tequila shots. Whoever finishes first win a bottle, and that would be my favorite time. And until one time, my boyfriend was like, "You're so stupid. You're competing to drink alcohol, to win alcohol, to get drunk tomorrow, to have a hangover." I'm like, when you put it that way, okay, but when I'm thinking about those free tequilas I don't have to pay for, I ain't thinking that.
5 in a row is a lot. Were they big shots?
No, small. Not the shots. Listen, America, you guys do shots very different. I came to learn the hard way when I came to America. Your shots are literally like double, triple, but they were like a small glass,
like a sip, then a small sip. Okay. Okay.
I'll send you a picture.
Exceptional. I love it. I love it. Yeah, we do Tequila Sunday too. That's hilarious. But on that note, so tell us about the journey, because you've lived all over. You have like quite the plethora of experience. I feel like you're really good about like adapting, molding, and then learning. Like, tell us about your journey thus far and the travels, all of it.
Oh my God. Well, I've lived in like 5, 6 countries ever since I was a kid. I moved. My mom got an opportunity to go further education in England, and my dad has never been like, he's a full on dad, but his job took him all over. So it was like, okay, the kids are gonna go with their mom to England, and then we moved to England, spent 5 years there. Then I was like, fuck it, this weather is depressing. I can't do England. I moved to Malaysia. And at that time, I was in law school. I quit law school to take a year gap because I wasn't sure if I really loved law school because my dad was a lawyer and me being a daddy's girl and everything, or if I actually enjoyed law. And at that time, I wanted to party and being in law school because I finished school quicker. I was like, no, it does not go with the studying and the partying. The law school doesn't. So I quit. I took a year gap, and I decided I was ready to go back to school. I told my dad I wanted to study hospitality, especially events and management, because I throw amazing parties. I'm good with people. I like planning. I'm detail oriented. Like I was like, if I'm already doing this for fun, might as well go to school for it, right? My dad was like, cool, where are we going? I was like, I want to go to Malaysia. First, I wanted to go to Australia. My dad was like, it's too far. I can't have you in Australia. So I went to Malaysia. I did my 5 years. I got to travel within being in Malaysia and studying hospitality. We got to do dual internships. I got to to be in France. I got to do my internships in Dubai. Then I left, finally finished, did my last internship in Dubai. Then I actually came to America to hang around while I waited to go to my grad school. I was already accepted to a school in Switzerland, one of the top universities for hospitality. But I came to America and I started, you have your friends who you have forgotten or family you haven't spoken to in a while, and you like realize, oh my God, everybody's in America. They're here, they're here, they're here. So I was like, let me just start applying for schools and shit. And I ended up staying here at Georgia State and I graduated grad school. But yeah, I love to travel. International travel is my life, I think. And my dad brought that into our life since we were kids, even before starting to live outside. Every holiday, Christmas, we'll travel to Europe since I was a kid. So that got me to adapting in life and doing a bunch of shit or talking to people from different backgrounds, different sizes, different ages. Like my friend list can go from way under the age limit to above senior citizenship. Like I talk to anybody and everybody, no matter what level, because I feel like everybody has something to share. And so that's my kind of journey with life. And then with podcasting, I literally started it in 2020 during COVID. After being in America for a minute, I realized I was suffering with depression through my life journeys. And the first time it hit me being from Africa, in Africa, we don't talk about mental health. So I was feeling ashamed, embarrassed, or not really people talk about, because anybody you tell how you're feeling, they just wonder, oh, that's part of life. Oh, we all go through that, but you'll be fine. That's just normal. At least be thankful you have this, this, this. So I started a movement called Life with Paula. And I literally, that was my first time actually even doing a live on IG. And I went on and I just shared raw honesty about my process. And I ended up building a community. A lot of my friends were feeling the same way, but nobody knew who to talk to. So we started like a supportive group on WhatsApp. And I want from most of those people who started with me in that journey in 2016, 17, most of them right now are doing so good in life. But because we finally decided to be open and have those conversations and have that support and not just feeling alone. So when 2020 hit, I just broken up with a guy who I thought was my soulmate and life was going to be all beautiful. I was going to get married and we're going to have kids. But when we broke up, I liked being busy. So at that time, I was working at Home Goods as a retail, as a merchandiser. Again, I like turning shit into prettiness. And then we were about to start our event company, Malaysia's event company, and I was going to help her. She's my friend. So there was a lot of stuff that was going on that I didn't have time to think about my breakup or figure out what was going on. Because, you're busy. You don't have time.
Yeah, that could be a blessing too.
It is. Like when you're busy, breakups work very well. You're like, fuck it, man, on to the next.
Thank you, next.
There you go. But then when everything got shut down and the news was nasty, everything just felt like crashing. All I was doing was drinking, because what else was there to do? Like literally, I was drinking, and I started realizing that I was drinking way more, because the more I drank, the more I thought. So
Mhm.
I wanted to drink to pass out so that I can't think. But that means then I wake up in the morning to do the same shit. So I was getting into that depressive state, and I was like, oh fuck, I need something. Like I
Yeah.
enjoy drinking, and I want to continue enjoying drinking as a pleasure instead of as a coping mechanism and turn into an alcoholic. Because I love my beer, so I wanted to keep staying like a
Yeah. Not a
so
lifestyle.
yeah. So I finally had to face my demons, which was my breakup and everything that was going on. And I wrote an email and I went on Twitter. I talk a lot of shit on Twitter. So I started talking shit about the email I sent to my ex. And one of my friends was like, yo, you talk a lot of shit. You should start a podcast. I was like, you know what? I really should. What we gonna call it? I was like, talk shit with me.
Boom.
Literally the next day I woke up, beer was not my breakfast. I actually showered, I dressed up, I started researching
I love it.
how to start a podcast. I joined, and you know the algorithm, as soon as you start thinking about something, that's
Yeah.
everything you're seeing. So
Yes.
all these courses, you know, and during COVID there were a lot of free courses happening. So how to be a podcaster, I was signing up for all these courses, showing up. I went on Amazon, bought the cheapest mic, Googled places. Like I literally started teaching myself, because first of all, COVID, I didn't know if I was gonna have a job, so I wasn't about to spend money into buying when I'm thinking about how I'm gonna pay my rent for the next
Yeah.
few more months. So I was literally buying the cheapest shit I could afford just to have a base, and joining as much as free courses and groups. I was researching groups and following podcasters and started listening to more podcasts just to get an idea. And then recording was the easy part, but my
Yeah.
first episode until today, I have yet to listen to it because it was so raw. I talked about my struggles during COVID, my financial struggles, my drinking, my everything. Some people don't like to hear that. Some people, and even me, I don't think I want to listen to how bad.
Yeah.
I didn't know what my podcast was going to be about, but one thing I knew, I wanted it to be a safe space for people to have whatever conversations, especially after building life with Paula and seeing how being open and honest brought me.
Yeah.
So that's how I wanted. So I did that, and it's one of my top downloaded episodes. And I didn't even
Okay.
promote my podcast like that, because I wasn't even sure. Even my brother was like, "I'm gonna hold you accountable on this date if you don't release an episode." And I actually released a week before the date I told him. But it was the push publish button that took a little more
Yeah.
longer. But the recording part was, and I even went on live to share how excited, because people started reaching out. Oh my God, Paul, I didn't know you were going to do this. People started helping, people started sharing
Thank
support.
you for joining
And
Turmeric
since
and
then,
Tequila
I
with your
ended up
host,
back
Kristen
being
Olson.
an
Tune in
Amazon
next time,
person
and
who
don't
ended
forget
up
to
buying
subscribe on
Podfest.
Apple,
That was the
Google
first time
Podcasts,
Podfest
Spotify,
did
or
their
wherever you
virtual,
listen.
and they bought a bunch of tickets, and they're like, we have 100 tickets, who wants to attend? I was like, I will. And because I knew also my initial plan, I want to be a TEDx speaker. So, but when I first attended it, they were asking people to be speakers, and I'd never attended a podcasting conference again. This was like literally me being brand new and doing
Yeah.
everything. I taught myself to edit, to pause, to sign up. Nobody was helping me. I was doing it all by myself through research and everything. I was like, let me just apply to be a speaker. If I get and my initial thought was, if I get rejected, I need to learn how to accept rejection in this industry. We can't
Yes.
always get what we want.
Of
You need to
course.
be okay with the no's, but to still keep going after the shit. So
Yeah.
I applied, and I was like, I'll do the case study because I'm not yet ready to be, and especially since I didn't know the technology, I didn't know how I'd have to be in front of people and share and all that bullshit. And especially since most of my technology was still cheap stuff, I didn't want to embarrass myself. So I was like, case study will be good. And I got approved, and I was like, oh, fuck. I was expecting a rejection, so I wasn't prepared to actually do a case study presentation. But I did. I applied again the second time, and in the virtual I play Pekachuka, and now this time, next time, we'll be in a panelist, and I've never done that.
I
So
saw that. Congratulations. Do you what panel is it you're going to be on?
mental health, hell
Oh,
yeah.
nice. Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm nervous, but I'm excited. But again, because I'm also now writing my book, because literally my first case study presentation was how podcasting saved my mental health. Because I really believe that getting into podcast was what helped me get out of
Yeah.
that depression state. And yes,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how many times you've been depressed. Sometimes it's easy to get yourself back up, and sometimes you're like, I ain't got no more fight. Fuck it. Let me just drown. So
Yeah.
to know when to be able to get that, that is huge. So I'm even writing a book. I don't know when I'll finish it, but I'm writing a book on how podcasting served my mental health, and it's just
Yes.
been a journey.
That's crazy because it's not that long. Podcasting is such I love it so much because it's one of the last mediums that are truly unhandcuffed and you can do whatever you want, you can say whatever you want, and I think the community that facilitates out of it is unbelievable. Obviously, all shout out to the Podfest fam. Like it's the everyone that comes in is so willing to help you learn. If they need something, you'll help them. Like it's just such a phenomenal community that it adds to the mental health, it adds to your life, it adds to the fun. Like it's the community has been so amazing. And I'm curious, I mean, every conversation I have, I feel like I learn something. Do you feel like you learn every single time you do a podcast?
Hell yeah. And I think
Yeah.
that's why I keep doing it. Because when I started, that's why I didn't even want to invest so much on it. Because sometimes you want to start something and then in the middle of it you're like how many times have we had, there's so many podcasts out there, but only a few actually get to episode 20 or 50
Yeah.
or so. I was like, let me see how it goes. And I wasn't paying attention about the downloads. I wasn't paying attention about the phone.
Good.
I just was enjoying going there and having those conversations. Because first I was worried, will I get guests? But the more I kept on saying I'm a podcaster, people just wanted. And I've had conversations that I don't think I would have been able to have them if I didn't have a podcast, or if my podcast also wasn't called Talk Shit with P. I feel
Yeah.
like the name gives people, I feel like, I want to talk some shit. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, cool. But I've had conversations. I've learned way more. There's certain things I thought I knew, and I come and I'm like, oh, fuck. But I've also, the connections I've made through these conversations is incredible. That's
Yeah.
why, as I said, like, the more I kept doing it, I was like, oh my God, I love this. Like, and I'm not getting paid. I'm not
Yeah.
making money out of it yet, but I'm enjoying it so much. So I was like, okay, when the world opens, let's see, with everything being open, will I still be as invested? Because when you have time, you
It's
can
different.
turn anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the world opened, we were still doing events. I was going out, I was having fun, but I was still making sure I was making content and enjoying it. And I actually enjoyed it. I didn't have to force myself. I just woke up and created and looked and hunted and found ways to make better. If anybody sees from my season 1 to now I'm on season 5, I'm constantly switching because I'm taking knowledge from people and I'm learning
Yeah.
and I'm growing because it's constantly growing. And I'm in this point where even like Podfest, like virtually, you still don't get the same feel. And when I attended it, I was like, because it was literally my first time in-person event, because I started podcasting during COVID.
Right.
So I
Right.
was like, oh my God, this is a community I want to be. You meet people just want to see you grow. People want to offer as much support and help. Even online, the way people just give each other support without even meeting, but we are all podcasters. We can all win. I love that um com- collaboration over competitions.
Yeah.
And that's
Oh
how
yeah.
really podcasting is. Like, we are literally, and I feel like, why would I not want to be in this community, in this space? Like, so now, and with everything that's happened now, I'm like, yo, I want to know more. I want to get
Yeah.
better. This is an industry that I really want, that I belong, that I see myself growing into.
Absolutely. Well, and there's a lot to know. So like the getting on the mic, having the conversation, you're a people person like I am. I love meeting people, having conversations. That's the easy part for us, I think.
Very.
But then there's the editing, the audio, the getting it on the platform Libsyn or whatever you use. Like there's the social media, the promoting, there's so much to it. I think fellow podcasters are so quick to support because they're in it. Like I'm in it with you. Everything you're doing the work. And that's why I see the hustle and I acknowledge it because I see how much you don't, I mean, it never stops. Like it's constantly, and you do all of it and it's fine, it's good, it's like good, but it's so much work. And even if you outsource pieces of it, I mean it's still a piece of the puzzle.
It is.
So it's
It
work.
is.
And there's always like a new social media platform, YouTube comes out, there's this, like how do you do a good job of keeping up with like TikTok and like all the different platforms and all the different angles we have to take advantage of?
So here's the thing. I am yet to outsource, but my plan is next year because every year I try to change and I don't try to overspend unless I have a plan. So now I'm working on a business plan. I might have had somebody, hopefully fingers crossed it works out. They're planning on sponsoring. But now I wanna like start recording in a proper studio so the engineering can take care of everything. Like I just show up and record. I feel like I've learned everything and now I wanna up your game. You eventually you're gonna have to spend money to get better quality, better quantity so you can stand out. But it's okay when you're starting, when you're still figuring it out. And it's nice that I did it that way. I learned. But it's literally a lot of work. I remember one time I went to a clubhouse session and this lady was saying, I even went back and forth, but not in a disrespectful manner, in a very conversation manner, where I was telling people I take breaks from my seasons. Like I will take a month, 2 months, and she was saying, no, you shouldn't do that. You're gonna lose people. I'm like, your people are gonna be your people. And as long as you stay consistent, I'm not saying take a break and just disappear. There's taking a break and the first time I took, people were like, I'm glad you're taking a break, it gives me time to catch up and be ready for your next season, because some people are not listening every day, some
they're
people
busy
need,
too,
exactly. It's just like shows. A show can come out and you'll wait to binge it when the entire season is out. Some people want to sit on the TV every Sunday as soon as it's out. Everybody is different. And if you have people who are doing everything and all you have to do is show up and record, I would not take a break. If all I had to do was show up and record, I can do that every day because I'm constantly talking. But
I'm so with you. I'm so with you.
But it's the marketing. I used to tell people when I get my first money will be maybe a social media marketer. If I have somebody who deals with social media marketing, because that's a lot more. Editing used to be an issue because I didn't know how, but now I talk so much that some episodes I don't even need to edit because I want the feel of it to feel also. So editing doesn't take much anymore. Like literally, I just listen to it to make sure like it's all good before I put it out there. And I hate listening to my voice. So I'll also get an editor, but my editor won't have much work compared to my social media marketer. Because the amount of platforms, everybody says you gotta be in every platform, which is true because some listeners might not be. And just like how you said, I did have a YouTube page, but I got tired of posting because I hate editing videos and I don't do a good job. So I decided my videos would be part of my, members club where people can get to pay and watch for free because they're not edited. Like I'm putting the videos right like out there. So you get the in between, the everything and a plus on. But that's why my YouTube was blank. But you came to me, you posted something and I commented and you're like, oh, get on them shorts. And all I do, the good thing is, I learned a long time. This is the power of attending the workshops and attending these clubhouses when Clubhouse was really at that time when people were, again, when we had time in COVID, everything, you had time for being everywhere.
It's different now for sure.
Exactly. Like I literally have to remind myself, oh my God, they're going live. I want to support, but then there's this happening. But when there was nothing happening, it was so easy. But I learned a long time of repurposing content because again, everybody I have on Instagram is not the same people I have on YouTube, on TikTok, on Facebook. So I know my biggest one is Instagram. So I make content for Instagram, and then I just repurpose it the same way and just put it everywhere. And I
Yeah.
got my first 1K on a YouTube short, and I was like, oh my god!
Yeah.
And I literally started YouTube in October. When you page, I actually right before we came on, I posted something and I tagged you because I got my year-round YouTube video, my
Okay.
YouTube short for the creator. They do like the Spotify Wrapped, kind of like
Okay.
the Spotify Wrapped I got, and the numbers are insane because I just started doing it in October. But it's all comes to the consistency and repurposing content. If you don't have somebody who's managing your social media, don't try unless you have the time. If you have the time and you're as creative, because I'm still
Yeah.
learning my creative ways, and you're creative, do you, boo. But me, this is for people who want to also make sure their presence is everywhere, but they don't have as much time or so much creativity. Concentrate on one. I concentrate on Instagram, right? And I just repurpose it for
Yeah.
YouTube, for TikTok, for whatever, and that works out perfectly. I'm still figuring out Pinterest, but we'll get there.
Oh, I haven't done that yet. I completely agree. I always say like do one really well, repurpose you can just like you said, if you have time, do them all, but pick I would say two, the one that works well for you, but then the ones that are really popping that are trending, like Clubhouse was hot and then it kind of faded out. YouTube's algorithm changed right now and all the studies I've read, it's about video, younger generations. It's video, video, video. And with the shorts, you can gain following so much faster. So it's
Oh
still
yeah.
authentic, it's the same content and it's buzzing. So, and I think Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, they're all different, but I think it's a lot of the same people. YouTube, I think, is a totally different demographic.
Yes.
And there's some crossover, but not really. And they're focusing on podcasters. So my whole thing with like any clients or business people or whatever, I'm like, dude, just get on there. Whatever it is, get on there. The algorithms, like it's easy right now to gain that following and usually different than a different group of people if you're not on there than everything else you're doing. But it's one more channel to learn. It's one more thing to like figure out. But it's not too terrible. I mean, shorts, I mean, they're just kind of
It's
like
not.
reels.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving and to see the
Good.
numbers. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm kind of glad I rolled into it. And I rolled it as soon as they're about to give us the handle. So I was able to get my handle before somebody else gets in there. Because
Good.
you never know, you never know.
Yeah. Well, that's
Because
that's
right
the other
now,
piece. You want to get your brand, but even if you don't do anything on it, I always say just get the handle just in case.
yeah, because right now when I look at my website, I try to make sure it's constantly on the annual pay and repair. Because when I look at how much my website right now costs if I decide to sell it, I'm like, there
Oh,
must be people out there interested in this handle because my podcast constantly selling my domain can't be worth this much. Like every day the amount keeps growing and I'm like, what the fuck?
what's it
So
worth right now?
the last time I checked, it was already on 800 and something, and that was
Really?
last month. I was shocked, and I was like, I had to go and make sure I have my auto renewal on, and make
Yeah.
sure, okay, when do I get paid? Because I know as soon as it goes out, if somebody snatches it,
Yeah.
they're gonna make me pay so much for it. Especially if right in 2 months ago we were at 800. So it's
Oh,
ridiculous. That's why I was like, I'm glad I came on YouTube in time to get my handle.
yes.
And that's what I love. Like, even when I used to tell everybody I'm never getting a Snapchat. Like, literally, when I got Snapchat, everybody was like, finally, because I was never, but you go, you hear, even if you're not posting, just open a page so people can find you. You never know. So
Yeah.
I opened and I'm glad I kind of did because everywhere when I opened, my name, my handle is still the same. I hate having, oh, when you're on Instagram, talk shit with P, and then when you're on Snapchat, talk dot shit with P, and then when you're on YouTube, so I'm glad that my name everywhere is talk shit with P, like straight up.
Everywhere. I love it. Well, so tell me, what are you working on right now? Like, what is the learning, or like, have you been able to take a breath and kind of just do all the skills you've learned? Are we learning new things as we speak?
I'm actually learning new skills. I'm trying to get my marketing, especially with seeing how the reels and I still suck at it. I'm good at mixing videos, but I still want to perfect it. So
Yeah.
I'm working more on my social media marketing. And because I'm this person that even if I'm going to hire somebody eventually, I want to make sure I know some sort. That way, if the
Yeah.
person I hired one day is sick or they decide to quit on me, I'm not left stuck. That's why I also appreciate the fact that as I was starting my podcast, I was able to do everything by myself. And I'm looking into switching up a few stuff. As I said, the fact that I might have a good offer depending how my business plan comes out, into getting somebody to invest so I can outsource. And I want to turn Talk Street with tea, like Turmeric and Tequila. Like literally, you inspire me and seeing how
Oh,
you are working it. You are literally my role model, one of my
oh,
role models in podcasting. Like
my girl.
I love to see how your merchandise and stuff. So I'm working on that, on turning Talk Shit With into our brand. So next year, as I said, I want to start recording in proper studios because I don't think I have the good light in my house. And I don't want to be limited to that. I have to be recording at a specific time.
Yeah.
So I want my videos to be changing to have a feel that like I want to turn it more into professional, even though I'm still talking shit.
You can do both, turmeric and tequila. Don't. Well, I like that you
Yeah.
said earlier. You're like, well, that someone was telling you like you shouldn't leave your auntie. You should like. There's all these people telling you like what you should and shouldn't do. But the reality is, this landscape is changing all the time. So you got to listen to you.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. You can do what you want to do. Just tell your audience what you're doing. Like you don't need to follow
Oh
these
yeah.
rules
Oh
of
yeah.
what it is. But like, cause it's ever like all this is changing every single second.
I've never been a low follower or following people, and that's why I think with trends also. When I know this ain't my trend, this ain't my brand, I'm a stick. I'm a get away from it because
Yeah.
I don't want to just be hopping into everything to the extent where I lose focus of what my brand is or where I belong.
Totally.
So I'm still trying to figure that out, and I'm glad I do. Like even when people come to my social media, my Instagram, you can really tell it's my energy. I'm doing what
Yeah.
I feel with my mood. Like I might jump into a few trends because they're hopping, they're fun for the fun sake, but I try to have my own individuality, like be
Yeah.
my own
Beer.
person. Because I'm constantly promoting authenticity, so I want to be authentic to myself and my brand. So I'm working on a business plan to do that, to see how to get my podcast more out there, to outsource. And my plan for next year is to be in a lot more podcastings. I tend to have more people in mind and not be out there as much. So I wanna be out there as much and do a lot more talks. I wanna talk, and I feel like being a part of a panelist will be an opening for me to
Yes.
attend more and be out there. And because I'm a very confident person, but like I can literally walk up into a group and talk to anybody. Like literally, when I see people, I walk up, hi, I know you. But put me on the stage, and
Yeah.
my
It's
shyness
different.
comes knocking. Like literally, I, even Larry was like, "You're shy." I'm like, when you put me on the stage, you'll see how shy I am. When
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have to, it took me a time, a process to even like my first 2 seasons. I wasn't doing video. I was literally just recording. So, but I'm evolving, and that's why I like this. I'm allowing myself to evolve and grow within, learn. I want to next year also take more knowledge on the podcasting because I realize I want to work in this industry. So I want to put myself out there. I'm a firm believer in shooting your shot. I do not care
Yeah.
about rejection. I don't care. Let them people say no, but as long as I'm putting myself out there, I'm shooting my shot. They say closed mouths don't get fed. So,
Yeah.
and I want to be fed. I want to feed myself and be fed.
That's what's up. Yes. There is no
So
chance of
I want
either
to
of us being closed mouth. That's for sure.
exactly. I want to surround myself more with people who are growing in this industry where I can grow more and learn and be knowledgeable. I want to attend more conferences. I want to master my craft.
Yeah. I
So
love
that's
that.
the plan. And to hopefully finish my book.
I mean, that could be a process too, though. I mean, I think the big piece about learning is like not like having an idea of what you want, having a plan, but learning like and being open to what that learning journey is along the way. Cause like I signed up to do podcasting. I didn't even think that I was gonna have to learn audio and then I was gonna have to learn social media stuff and then I was gonna have to learn YouTube and TikTok. And I was like, oh my God. But like you kind of go with it. So you can have this plan, but it's I think really just about being open-minded and then just continuing to learn what you can and not really having this deadline.
And also using the resources you have.
Yes.
Especially being in this industry, we have so much resources. All we gotta do is knock on their doors.
Yeah.
So even with this business plan, I was like, I've never written a business proposal for podcasting. What do you put? What do you say? How do you do it? Is it like a professional business proposal, or because it's podcasting, it's different? So I was like, you know what? I know Joe Ruben of More Power than me and him are cool. So I shoot him an email. I was like, listen, I have this. Can I get on a call with you and pick your brain? He was like, hell yeah, investing is my part of what.
Yeah.
Let's do this. So I had a call with him on Saturday, and he opened my Insight and was like, once you're done with your red draft, send it my way. I'll take a look at it. I was like, thank you. So it's also us allowing ourselves to understand that we are not alone.
Mhm.
And nobody's going to know what you're working on or how to help you if you're not asking for that help or reaching out for that.
Amen. And at one point, someone's going to be reaching out to you saying, Paula, how do I do this? How do I do this? A podcast?
Oh
And you'll
my
be like, I
God.
got you.
Oh my God. It's actually funny because so far 4 people I have, and depending with all what they needed, I've directed them to different areas. I've directed 2 people to Mark. One of them, after having a meeting with Mark, she literally sent me a message. She's like, oh my God, this was so useful. Mark was amazing.
Aw.
Thank you very much. I'm like, he's part of the podcast community, and I met him through there, and I know he's the right person. And even on Sunday yesterday, I got a voicemail from this kid. I'm choosing to believe she's in Tanzania
Sure.
because she speaks Swahili, and she sent me voice notes telling me I'm doing my master's in mass communication. I'm interested in podcasting. I know you're doing, and what you're doing aligns with what I want to do. Can I pick your
Yes.
brain? Can you be my mentor? Can even my first episode be with you? And I was like, oh my God, I'm still kind of learning, but I was like, yesterday was kind of lazy day for me, and I had to record, so I didn't respond to her. I responded today, and I was like, I'm sorry, yesterday was hectic, but these are my free times. Reach out, let me know how I can help you. Let's do this. I
love
like it because I got so much help when I decided to start this, and I'm constantly getting help. So if I can help anybody get in there, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like
That's what our
this year,
world needs too.
exactly. This year, in June, after Podfest and after healing from COVID, I was like, you know what? Podfest was doing the speed networking before people went to Podfest, so people who have never attended can at least know people. And when they go there and stuff, they were doing it for like 30 minutes. They put you in different rooms, you talk to people, and then they shift you. So I was like, you know what? Let me do my first Talk Shit with P event and do a networking event for people, and not necessarily people who are in podcasting, because you never know where your collab or your sponsor can come from. It's not necessarily always podcasters, and in the podcasting world, people have come from different backgrounds who have ended up podcasters. So
Yeah.
I planned on a Talk Shit with P networking. Mind you, this was around July, and I still knew I had my job, so I was gonna do a Bomas event, and it was gonna be 3rd of December, like to end the year. That way we can start it next year fresh. And I hadn't even promoted it on social media. I talked about it on my first episode when I came back for season 5, but I never really put it out there or promoted it. But it got packed. It sold out on Eventbrite, and it was a free event. I was selling 10 tickets. I wanted 20 people. My thing was, if you buy a ticket, your ticket is initially 2 tickets. You have to bring someone. That way we are not networking the same people. We are networking outside. And that way, the next time I do the other event, the person you invited brings somebody else we don't know. That way, it's not the same faces. We constantly see each other.
Yeah, I love that.
So then, I know, right? It was going to be amazing. I had amazing plans. But then, and then one day, somebody came looking for me on Instagram, and they're like, hey, I was trying to get on your event. I found it was fully sold out. Is there anywhere I can make my way? And at that time, I was thinking about canceling it because I can't do an event when I'm still trying to figure out how I'm paying my rent, because I still have to buy at least some drinks, and I wanted my merchandise to be available to give them like pens with I had a whole plan. So I canceled it. I told her I might be canceling it, but I'll keep you in mind. Let's stay in touch, whatever. And when I canceled it, I got so many disappointing messages like, oh my God, I was looking forward to this. I was like, trust me, it will come back next year. probably in February, because January I have Podfest and I'm gonna be busy interviewing but I was like, I'll come back. But to know that, oh my God, I'm actually doing something out here that people want.
Yeah.
That was like, fuck yeah, like
Yeah, it's
the fact
validation.
that I can't, yeah, the fact that I canceled the event, being sad about canceling the event went away because it was a validation I wasn't expecting. Because in my head, I was like, who's going to care that I canceled, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Why but that's huge. I mean, I think when you're on path and you're on the journey you're supposed to be on, it doesn't have to be 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. I think it can happen pretty fast. And even though you're not an expert in the field, which nobody is because it's changing so fast, like you can still be learning and still be a leader. So you can be leading, up to what you know, which is a lot at this point. Like when you immerse yourself into this space or any space really, like you learn a lot and you're valuable to the people that are on day one. So I think, and I actually think you become a better player when you're the coach. So I think you become a better podcaster when you're coaching someone else. So all these skills are like mutually beneficial, all the give.
Oh hell yeah, it was. And just anytime anybody comes to me and they're like, oh my God, I understand podcasting, I just get excited. I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, let's talk about it. What do you want? And the fact that when I left Podfest, right? When I was at Podfest, Travis Brown was doing the reviewing of your profile of your
Okay.
podcast, and I signed up. And when I saw him, it was like the third person I saw Andrew, then Riley, then him. He was the third person I saw. He was just making his booth, and I was like, "Hi!" I was like, "Hey, Paula, I saw you signed up for your review. You gonna come?" I'm like, I kind of signed up, but I'm not sure because I am okay receiving criticism. But sometimes when it's your baby, right?
Yeah,
You're
totally.
growing it without knowing. You're not sure if you're ready to hear what you're doing wrong. But you
Totally.
also know that you need to hear if you want to grow. Like,
Right.
say you're like in the middle, like, I don't want to be told what I'm doing wrong, but I also want to know because I want to grow. So
Yeah.
I eventually showed up. Surprisingly, he was more impressed with what I had, and he had a few changes for me, like literally like my logo. That's why my logo changed. It was like, Paula, you have so much energy and your podcast is about you.
Yeah.
So put your face on the logo. I was like, okay. So I came back home and I was like, okay, let's get to work. And I literally started working on my logo, and I would literally bug him. I bugged him, I bugged Raleigh, and I bugged also Adam from Podcasting Business School. I was like, these are the people who I have access to, and they're good in this shit. So let me get mine, because if I'm gonna pay whatever amount I'm paying for this logo, I'm gonna make sure it's good enough, because I'm not about
Yeah.
to redo it again in another. So
Totally.
until we final got the final approved, I kept on going back, and I was like, this is why I keep reminding people, don't be scared to use the resources you have, because it doesn't hurt, and most of the time people are willing and ready to help. So
Yeah.
I try to use every resource, and even when I can't help somebody, I send them to people. I'm like, hey, Mark knows this thing, or Kristen knows this thing, or they
Mhm.
know this thing, so go to them. I literally introduce you to them,
Yeah.
because I'm not losing anything, but I'm just gaining another person in the industry where we can continue collaborating and create more amazing stuff together.
Absolutely. Well, and attitude reflects leadership. I think Chris from Podfest said that, it's very much a giving back, give away the book, pay what you can't. Like, it's very much like abundance mindset. There's plenty to go around. I literally think every person out there should have a podcast because everyone has a different voice. There's 11 billion humans in this world. There's more than enough listeners to go around. And like people have important things to say. So if we're in this community, we're facilitating this mindset of, give what you can, show up, be a helper. If you need something, ask. Like if we're facilitating that in the Podfest community, like that's amazing. We can do that in like our other communities. Like that's what we need, of this give and take where you can, and everything can kind of work together and we can help each other. Like this is in 2023, this is what we need on all levels.
Exactly. Because there's more to go around. And one thing most people do, I think the reason some people end up giving up on podcasting or just running away from it or being scared is you're trying to compare yourself to another podcast.
Yeah.
So you don't know their journey. maybe also, yes, they might have started the same time with you, but you don't know, maybe they had started 3 years ago and gave up and went and took much more courses and a coach and got there all, so every journey is different. So
Yeah.
stop looking at anywhere else. And that's why I'm so grateful. When I started, I wasn't paying attention about the downloads or the listeners. And people would ask me, are you making money? Have you monetized it? How many downloads do you get? I'm like, I don't care. I'm not paying attention to that. I
Yeah.
want to make sure that I actually enjoy what I'm doing, and I'm actually giving out worthy content. Because as
Yeah.
long as you're doing those two, the rest will eventually figure itself out, or you end up figuring it out. But if you're just coming straight thinking about the monetizing and the downloads, you're gonna fail real quick because you're gonna
Yeah.
get disappointed. Because
Yeah.
it grows, but also the speed of how it grows also depends on what you're doing. But if you're constantly copying somebody else, you're not being true to yourself and your brand, which means you're not gonna get where they got because you're just copying shit.
Yeah.
Nobody's understanding what you're all about.
Oh man. Well, and the audience will know. Like you can tell, you can listen to
Exactly.
podcasts when they're doing it because there's margins in it or they can sell something easy versus
Yeah.
something super authentic and you can tell that they bleed it. I mean, and our young people are, savvier than ever. They're conscious consumers. They get it. So none of those things, even if you try and do the game or manipulate the system, it doesn't work. At some point, it's going to be work, like you said, but also no one's going to tune in because they're going to know it's fake.
Exactly. And the biggest compliment I've got, and I keep getting this from most people who listen to my podcast, they be like, oh my God, every time I listen to you, I feel like I'm just chilling with my girlfriend and we're talking. I'm like,
Yes.
and that's how I want it to be. That's why it's talk shit. Like, come, let's talk some shit. And most people, when they hear talk shit, they sometimes don't think we have important conversation because it's talk shit, right? But I feel like the name just makes people feel safe and comfortable to come talk because when you're not thinking about the seriousness about it, we don't. But I've had episodes from people sharing their cancer stories, being a recovery. My sister, who's the bougiest and who does not let anybody know she struggles, came and shared issues with postpartum depression after
Ah,
having a baby because that side people don't share, especially not in
yeah.
Africa. People conclude you are lazy or you don't want to take care of your baby and all that. So she came and she was vulnerable. My brother came on my podcast and shared about his journey as a recovery addict. But also we
Wow.
have episodes of OnlyFans and dating online and
Yes.
sex education and
Yes.
so my dad came on my show after bleeding, like literally, I had to make posts of asking people and whatever. But I had an episode where for Mother's Day, I brought my mom and I brought my bonus mom, and in between we're all friends who are mothers, either first time mothers or long time mothers, and they all went and told my dad how much fun they had on my podcast, and my dad was like, "Okay, fine, I'll come." So on Father's Day, I had my father share about being a girl dad, and because it was the time where Kobe died and girl dads and everything. And my dad raised me like I wasn't raised by my mom. My dad literally raised me. So
Okay.
it's insight on how most people get to know how what type of a person was. Well, my mom raised me when we were in UK, but like they kind of all had. But my dad did more job after I left UK. My dad was the hands-on, so
I
you
love it.
kind of get an insight of me from my mother's version, from my
Yeah.
bonus's mom's version, and then from my dad, who had to raise a tomboy as a daughter. And trust me, I wasn't an easy teenager.
I actually believe you in that. I feel like you're doing your own thing 100%. But that's okay.
Yeah, so
You
but
find you
that's
find your path.
oh yeah, and that's I don't regret it because the reason I am the person I am today is because of how I grew up. I might be scared of having my own kids, and if they end up turning, because they always say your child becomes
Yep.
worst version of you. So I don't know if I'm ready
Ooh.
for that. Maybe that's
Yeah.
why God is still not giving me a child yet. It's like, my child, I need you to have all the patience in the world before you get this child.
Facts, facts. That's crazy. Well, so okay, so on the learning journey, that's a whole other learning journey. That's a podcast series. But is there any one like tool you suggest or course, or it doesn't have to be about podcasting, but just in life, daily quotes, anything you suggest that has really like helped you or facilitate your journey in learning and evolving and becoming?
To be honest, just I don't know if there's a specific tool, but there are a lot of people, including you yourself, Christian, just watching people and allowing their advice to, sometimes you get an advice, and even if you're not sure about it, try it before you knock it. Because just saying, oh, I can't do this, oh, I'm not sure, that takes away the experience. At least try it. If you fail, you're like, you know what, I gave it a try.
Yeah.
That's not for me. But a lot came from just listening and watching my fellow podcasters and attending conferences. I've been attending podcasts since 2022, and everybody who came on that stage that I took something from, including Ina and Larry and Adam and oh my God, Jane, and most of them are also in my season this time, guest on my this season. But seeing them on stage, I made sure I followed them and I kept watching them and not being scared to ask them questions or get their input and stuff. And the thing is, I'm not afraid to be told I'm not doing what I'm doing right or wrong.
Yeah.
Because if you want to grow, you gotta accept the criticism. You gotta take that and work on it. And I attend because if you can pay for a coach, trust me, I would pay. Right now I can't. So if there's a free anything happening, I try to make sure I put my time and energy, and not just signing up and listening, but actually working on those. Like I just finished Adam had a 2 week free accelerator workshop on how to engage your customers and build. And I don't have a newsletter yet. I didn't know about SpeakPipe where people can get, but I learned all that from him and I created. And next year I plan on starting a newsletter, just so you know, because there's some people who are not on social media but they check their email. I hate email. That's why I check
know,
on
me
people
too.
most of the time on DM. But there are those people who literally live on on emails,
Yeah.
how to make your newsletter fun. And even if it's something I might not continue with, it doesn't knock me from trying to
Yeah.
see if will it make an input or not. And learning about, I learned about advertising. Most people talk about social media advertising, but there are advertisings in newsletters, in podcasting newsletters, like Podfest, and they have a Pod Messenger and Pod News and all that. So my influences, my learning, my resources literally come from you guys. Like I will not emphasize, and most of you guys come from Podfest, so it's
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
So the Podfest community has been my biggest resource. I also give Buzzsprout because they're very quick and very responding and very helpful. And I even got my first sponsorship from Superpass, which came from Podfest, and I don't use them right now, but they were amazing. It's a good company. I'll still suggest it. It just didn't work for me, but I love them. And for people with bigger audiences, that could work for them. It just didn't work for me and what I was doing at the moment. But my biggest resource, I'd say, people from Podfest. Like y'all have been literally incredible, supportive, and the knowledge. Like I literally attend clubhouses, and most of the time I say I'm supporting, but I end up learning way more and be like, fuck, did I
For
really
sure.
support or did they actually support me?
Yeah. Well, it
You-
always goes both ways.
no,
Absolutely.
you go in the head like I'm going in because I'm going to support, but you end up finding out they supported you. So I attend a lot of IG lives and Podfest, and if I could afford, I would hire a coach or even join the classes that they pay. There are few that eventually, once I get my financial situation, I know I'm definitely gonna take. But for now, because I can't, I use the free resources. Use
Yeah.
the free resources and don't just sign up and read and then forget about them. Actually practice on it.
Yeah.
Try it. And just because you fail one time, don't stop. Give it like 3 4 months. And what I learned from Adam was we normally try to to stimulate, like, okay, last year in July I had 12 more downloads than I have right now in August. But then he switched my mind into like, don't look at that. Look at it yearly. Where were you last year in November? Where were your numbers? Where are your numbers this November? And once I started looking at that way, I got impressed by myself. Last year in
There you go.
around November when I got my downloads, I had 2,500 downloads. Then this time in November I got to 4,000 downloads. So I'm moving. So it was like, looking at it that way, and to some people, in 2 years, 4,000 is still less, but fuck yeah, I'm gonna celebrate that shit because I did it by my own. That's a lot of downloads. There are 4,000 people out there listening to little old me. That's something.
That's crazy. Well, and you got to remember too, like you can't compare just in general because different missions, different time investment. There's people out there with huge budgets and huge platforms starting. I mean, it's just
advertisements.
It's not all consistent, but you just got to, like what you were saying, you just got to stick to your why. Why am I doing this? Why does it matter? And as long as it's fun and it feels meaningful and purposeful and there's value, everything else will come. And things have its own time and have its own path too. You can only control so much.
Hell yeah. And I'm not in a rush. Yes, of course I want eventually for it to make me money. But right now I'm more interested in crafting this baby of mine. Because even once I start making money, I want to make sure it still sticks to my brand and my personality and my vulnerability. So let me keep on crafting it my way. That way I can be picking. No, I don't want you as my sponsor because you don't go in my brand. But when you're quick about the money, you end up picking up anybody because, oh my God, that's my sponsor. And you end up losing the momentum of yours. Even right now, the more I used to worry about content. Oh, will I have guests? I have so much content and guests come to me right now. I don't even have to go looking for them. Yeah. But then sometimes I have to remind, like, okay, this person wants to come talk to this, but that kind of doesn't go with what I'm saying because what do I know? Who is it going to benefit in my brand? So you also have to be able to differentiate what works with your brand and not instead of just saying yes because you're excited somebody sought you out.
100%. You got to know the value before anybody else does. Before they get it. And I also echo your statements on surrounding yourself around the right people, the people you want to be like, because I think those are your resources, but they're also your support and they're your motivation. Like when you see someone you constantly working and she's doing another reel and she's doing this, I'm like, all right, yeah, let's get on it. Let's go. Let's do this. Like, let's be out here. And it really matters. Like that's most of my speeches are on that, where it's like, get your crew and stick to it because those are the influencers in your world way more than you even know. So if you have great people around you, that's good. Then you're motivated and you're inspired and you're around people you want to be like. That's a good thing.
It really is. And I tell everybody, I tell people that if I'm not for you, by all means unfollow me. I won't get offended because trust me, I'm gonna unfollow you. Like when I started working on my podcasting, and it reaches a point where I used to complain about how some of my friends and family are not supportive. And I had to be like, why am I wasting my energy on those who are not supportive? Yep. Well, I actually have people who are supportive. So fuck them.
Yep.
I started concentrating on those who are supportive. I support where the support comes. Like literally my Instagram right now, most people who I follow are podcasters or influencers, but people who actually bring meaning into my life, or when I open my page, it's things I want to see. And that helps push me because even when I'm slacking on the consistency, and then I wake up and I keep on saying, I'm like, fuck, man. Okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
So you gotta clean up your social media. Don't follow accounts that do not work with what you're working with. Don't follow. I'm not. And the good thing is, most accounts that you are following are actually open, so you don't have to follow them. You can be sneak peeking once a week.
Totally. You do the creep. Yeah.
You don't need to see it every day on your timeline. But I'm a big firm believer because once I started talking about mental health, like how can I tell people how can I speech on being following accounts and stuff, but then get mad at people if they decide to unfollow me. So these days I preach it on, baby. If I'm not for you, by all means, do what's best for you and unfollow me. No, but my account is open. You can come peek. Go. You can go listen to my. As long as you subscribe to my. as long as you go subscribe to my podcast, it's all fine. You don't need to be my follower on Instagram.
There you
We
go.
still they still love, and I'll still
Yeah.
respond to your DM whether you follow me or not. Just FYI.
I love it. I love it. Well, I mean, that's what it is. And I think the authenticity, the keeping it real, the real conversation, you want the crew that's going to genuinely engage and genuinely be like you, because you do see who follows you, and it is like mutually beneficial. And I'm big on like energy, like everything's energy. So if it doesn't feel good, it feels negative, just let it fly. And if I give that to you, then you have to let me fly. Like just let it be what it is, and like it's all good. So, on that note, tell
I'm
us.
big on.
Go. This is the
I'm
best.
big. I know, right? When we keep on, I'm very big on energy and positive vibes. You have no idea. So when I came back from Podfest and to have everybody say, "Oh my God, Paula, I fuck with you because your energy, you light up," that was like, that's the biggest compliment, and I never get tired of hearing it. And I love that. I showcase it through whether my post or my virtually and even more in person. So energy, follow your energy. That energy don't lie. Trust me.
It's so real. On that note, tell people, where do they follow you? Where do they get your podcast? What's coming up? Like you told us about Podfest, but give us the handles or websites or anything you want to share.
As I said, Talk Shit with P is available everywhere. I'm everywhere, and just type Talk Shit with P. I'm big on Twitter. I'm kind of loving TikTok right now. I don't do dances, but I love to just see the comments I end up getting. It's weird, random people. But I'm also big on Instagram, but right now I'm trying to build my YouTube. So go subscribe on my YouTube, Talk Shit with P. Okay. I'm available everywhere. Reach out to me. I'm a very happy, chippery person. I talk to anybody and everybody. Listen to my episode, and if you wanna have a conversation afterwards, or you wanna be a guest, or you want me to be on your guest, I'm available. Just hit me up. I will respond. I promise I respond. I'm working on my book. Y'all hold me accountable. I need people to hold me accountable.
I'll hold you accountable. We'll check in on it. I got you.
But I want it to come out by next year, June, for my birthday. So that's the plan.
Let's do it.
Holding me that. So I'm working on my book. If you're going to be on Podfest, make sure you attend the mental health panel. I'll be a panelist. And actually tomorrow, my second last episode of season 5 comes out. So check it out, because we talk about red flags, and me and my girlfriend were very real. So there's some sex talk, some friendship, some work shit. You get everything in there. We literally were drinking champagne and smoked a little. So we were really groovy on that one. But also, I'm just, a cool person. Hit me up and let's talk. I love having conversations. I'm a curious person. I like being curious. I like learning shit. And, catch me out there.
That's what's up. I love it. Go check out Paula. Go get the energy and the vibes. And real talk, if you're out here doing the social media or any sort of like digital hustle, go see all the things she's doing. She's got the camera on. She's recording content. It's all authentic. She can be the inspiration for your next digital move, because she's doing it and making it happen, and it feels real. So I think it's good inspiration for us all.
Thank you so much for having me, Kristen.
Yes. We'll check in soon, and hopefully I won't be at this Podfest, but hopefully I'll see you at the next one.
Wait. You're not coming in?
No, I won't be there in January. I had a conflicting event, but the next thing, whatever it is, I will definitely be there.
Wait to break up the news.
I know. It's going live. We were hoping to, but then it just, there was a bunch moving. So we'll make it happen. And they happen pretty quick. So we'll be at the next one.
I'm glad you say this after the show, because I would have probably not recorded.
No, I'm still recording.
I'm glad you mentioned it at the end of the show. If you had mentioned it while we had just started, I would have probably walked out and been like,
I'm out.
I was thinking I was gonna see you in January.
I know. It's so
I'm coming to Denver. We're gonna have to make a plan.
Come through.
By the way,
I'm
for
serious.
people who don't know, Kristen's best friend is called Paula.
Yes.
And I actually ended up just following her because she posted something. I was like, Paula's are the best. And I followed her, and Paula followed me back, and we've been friends. So we are now all friends.
I love it. Well, and similar energy, like different, but like similar vibe. It's so perfect. I mean, seriously, if you come to Denver, pull up and call me and we will get the Paulas and Kristen together.
We're going to put it in the book soon.
Please, please. All right. Until then, take care of yourself and I will see you on social media.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for joining Turmeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Tune in next time, and don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.